everyone, it's Julia. I'm working on some patchwork belts for my summer shop. And I do belts and I have for the last few years. Some of them I thrift. Oh, for instance, like this is a thrifted one. And I've showed these before on my channel where I just do some different patches on them and embellish them, and they turn out really fun. But this time I'm going to just be doing one kind of from scratch. I do have a couple D-rings that I'm going to be working with. So it's just going to be a long strip, and I'm going to be making it like a patchwork type. And then on some of this is like a grungy, almost like a lightweight canvas. And then this really beautiful floral print that I have. And so I'm going to be making a patchwork in a long strip, and then I'm going to be cutting some of the flowers out and doing some embellishing on the canvas, and then doing some thread doodling, and I'm not sure what, just some free motion stitching, just kind of make some really cute, fun spring, summer belts. Now this particular D-ring that I'm using, these are 1.5 inch on the interior of them. And so I want to make my patchwork, the width to be 6 inches. So you basically take your whatever this is times 4. So 1.5 times 4 equals 6. So if you are using like a 2-inch D-ring, one's a little bit larger than this, then 2 times 4 is 8. So then your strips are going to be 8 inches. I hope that makes sense. If they're 1-inch D-rings, you're going to want to cut your strips at 4 inches, or your width. And so right now, what I'm going to do is take this to my cutting table, and I'm just going to rotary cut strips of this. And I'm going to have them different, different widths or different, lengths. So I want them to look somewhat patchy. And I'm going to do that right now, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do after that. When I get the cutting done, it's on to piecing. I have them cut in different lengths, and now I'm just going to take them to my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch these right sides together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to have my strip to be approximately 52 inches. And so 52 inches by the 6 inches. I do have my strip complete. I am going to press my seams open. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to fold it in half now, and again, give it a good press. And then open it up and press each side to meet the middle. And then when I get that completely done, I'll fold it one more time to give it the final press. I do have a piece of fusible fleece here that measures 1.5 inches by the 52 inches. And I'm going to unfold this, and I'm going to place this in the middle top. And so when I fold this over, the fold is going to be at the bottom. And I'm just going to press this into place all the way down. I have my fusible fleece attached, and now I want to do some decorating. I cut out some of the flowers, just some of these little motifs on a piece of scrap here, and I'm going to just stick them on with a little bit of a glue stick. And then I'm going to take them to my sewing machine, and I'm going to thread doodle and do some interesting things. And I'm only going to be placing them on the canvas looking fabric. And I'm only going to be stitching them on this much of it, so that when I turn it over and do my final stitching, none of the back stitching will show at all. It'll all be covered up. So that's kind of my plan. I'm going to do some arranging here. I'm just using a UHU stick. This works great. I do leave it to dry before I take it to my sewing machine, just so to avoid some sticking. And another thing you can do is just take your iron and press over it, and that'll really speed up that drying time. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do some embellishing here and doing some gluing. And then I'll take you to my sewing machine and I'll share with you how I'm going to attach these. I've got my free motion foot on, and this is a darner foot. And I have like a navy blue thread on. This fabric has a navy blue background, and so I really like using either navy blue or dark gray. I use a lot of brown when I do this type of thing. Sometimes I do use black in certain things, especially if there's black in the design. But anyway, I have just an all-purpose navy blue thread. My bobbin is called bobbin thread, and it's a little bit lighter weight, and I just have white on. My feed dogs are dropped, and I just wanted to say that you make sure I've just noticed that some people forget to do this, and that is to drop your pressure foot. You know, there's plenty of room to move around, and so sometimes you forget, but that has to be, lowered in order for the tension and all that to work correctly. So now I'm ready to go, and when I start, I just usually do just a couple little back and forth stitches just to lock in, and then I'm just going to clip, and then I'm going to take off. And when I do this, I'm going to try to outline, but I'm going to get off, and then I just go around twice, and this is called doodling, and I'm going to fill in some of the little marks maybe on the leaves and some of the petals. I'm going to take you through a couple of them, and then I'm going to just continue on. Sometimes you just have to move. One thing wonderful about free motion is you can go sideways and back and forth and all directions, but sometimes you just can't see where you're going, and in that case I will turn it and then just continue on. You can add your own little doodles or maybe an extra leaf if you want. Like right here I might add another leaf. Maybe do a couple little just back and forth doodles on it. And you can see the close up on what this looks like. It has just a real scribbly, it's really a fun look. I'm almost finished with this. The last step before putting on the D-ring is just to close this up. So I'm going to add my clips and then take this back to my sewing machine, and I will be stitching all the way down. I got my stitching done, and I did stitch it on both sides, just about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. And now for the D-rings. The D-rings go on this side, just kind of following one that I got at the thrift store. And I'm going to turn this back, turn this under, and then I'm going to be stitching a couple rows right just to secure that. Stick a couple clips in there for now. And then on the other side, I think, let me see, that one doesn't show it, but I've got another one here. They usually have like they flip it up the other direction on this side, just to catch it when you have it closed. Yeah, here's another example where they have it, the D-ring on the left turned under, but then on the end, it's usually turned back on the front side. So I'm going to do that on this one. And my belt is complete. This would make a great purse handle too, or purse strap. Just a really easy way to just add some funk to something. You can also do just tons of different colors or just all patchwork with all different prints. Just a lot of possibilities. I hope you enjoyed this, everybody. I'm going to share some pictures at the end. Bye for now.